Well, hey guys, I am back again for part 2 of my leopard print tumbler that I'm going to go ahead and add the spots to. I just wanted to show you how I did that. I went and took a small amount of Mod Podge and a paintbrush, and I'm just going to apply those spots to the glitter that has already dried on this tumbler. Remember that animal print is not perfect, and sometimes we have a hard time with that because we want to make things absolutely perfect on our tumblers, but just try to find a print that you absolutely love. I happen to have a piece of leopard print vinyl that I use as kind of my guide to create some sort of pattern and spots that I like on this tumbler. Again, remembering that it's not perfect, because if you don't remember that, you will continue to try to reach perfection, and that's just not the ideal way to do this. Spots are not perfect, animal prints are not perfect, they are natural, so just try to keep that in mind as you do these. You don't need a lot of Mod Podge for this, and if you work fairly quickly and your room is not too hot, the Mod Podge you will be able to get all the way around your cup in time before it dries. So I was able to get all the way around, and then I go ahead and I douse this cup with what I was using, which is just Recollections chestnut glitter, and I will go back later on once it's dry and just dry brush off the excess glitter that I use, and you'll see what I'm talking about towards the end. Sometimes I will go through and just put what I think is good, and then I will go ahead and add that glitter to my cup, and then when I feel like I'm getting close, I will go back to the print that I'm using as a guide, and then I will go ahead and maybe add additional spots if need be. Sometimes you want these spots to be smaller, bigger, but remember too, you also have to accommodate for the black area that is going to be going around the brown when all of this is dry. So please just keep that in mind as you do make these brown leopard spots. But this is totally an easy project to do, because I know that when I first started I was a little intimidated by it, but I have done a few of these now, and once you get into it, you're just you throw your hands up and just get into it and do it, because honestly, if you remember that this is a wild print, it's not perfect, and that kind of allows that perfection to go out the window. Just keep in mind you want your Mod Podge to not be heavy and gloopy, because that does make it difficult for that glitter to settle and to dry. And typically what I will do, which I did not show you on camera, is I just usually will take my heat gun, kind of go turn it, put this on the turner, let it rotate with the heat gun for a little while, and then go through and let this dry with the heat gun for a little while. That way I can speed up the process a little bit. Okay, so here's where you're gonna see that I'm gonna take that chestnut from Recollections and go over all of my pieces with all of the Mod Podge pieces with that Recollections, and then I will just tap it off and get that excess that is not sticking to that Mod Podge. And again, if you haven't used a whole bunch, this really isn't that much glitter. And then you just clean up your excess and put it all back in your jar. Sometimes if you aren't able to make it all the way around, what I will do is I will stop halfway through, Mod Podge half the cup, sprinkle on that glitter, Mod Podge the other half, sprinkle on the glitter, and continue. At the end of that, you'll just notice that I'm tapping off my excess glitter to try to get the most of it off, because later on I will go back through and do the dry brush, did a little bit of blowing off there, and that's pretty much it. And I'm kind of going through just to kind of look at that pattern, check it out. I notice that there's some more in there that I want to go ahead and add some extra little spots. But really, it's just playing around with the pattern and kind of just seeing what you like. It's seriously just a game of eyeballing it and seeing what it is, how you feel. Like again, I said I'm having a piece of vinyl that has a leopard print next to me, so I kind of use that as my gauge to see what it is, how I'm doing, and if I need to add any more. But I will tell you, sometimes you need to stop while you're ahead, because if you add too much, then you won't have any places to add that black later on when you need to. So I'm just going through and adding a few more spots just to fill in some of those empty spaces there that I thought were looking a little bare. And then again, pouring on that glitter, and then I will dump that off. And sometimes, like I said, it looks a little odd right now because it doesn't have the black around it. But remember, that's the next step. And once you get that on there, it will be finished. And it will look amazing. I think the real part is when you start adding that epoxy on there. That's when this tumbler will come to life. And also, it might look a little muddy right now because you have a little bit of glitter of that brown hidden in there with that gold, but give it time. You will go back in there and dry brush it, and you just want to dry brush in between your spots, not all over the entire cup, because you do risk taking some of that glitter off. So just remember, go back in between each of the spots, take a little bit of time, and it'll all be worth it. All right guys, well I think that's about it, and I think I'm about to be putting this on the turner. And check back in with me for part 3, where I'm going to be adding the black to this tumbler. And I really appreciate you stopping in, and I hope to see you again here soon. All right guys, take care.